To the uneducated eye, a typical bot hive can look like sheer madness. But you take the time to slow down and look closer, you might just find a small, beautiful snapshot of life. The urge to procreate proving stronger than their desire to chase the ball, a Merc and a Gizmo share an intimate moment oblivious to the chaos around them. The union will last up to 5 minutes, while gestation will take anywhere from 20 to 25 days. I'd like to tell you that the rotation of life would continue through the next generation, but sadly the bot that results from this lineage will most likely never mate.
Hey guys, Sledge here. Sorry to cut in, but unfortunately we just blew our whole budget on that intro, so I regret to inform you that you're going to be stuck with my voice talents for the remainder of the program. So a couple weeks ago, I put out a pretty popular video called 7 Weird Rocket League Features. Now in the comments there was a lot of people suggesting other things in Rocket League that they thought were weird, including this one that referenced half the cars in the game. Now I thought that was a great idea, but also decided to expand it to include some other cosmetics, because let's face it, there's a lot of pretty weird looking items out there. Now, as a bit of a disclaimer, I want you to know that we're actually going to be looking at more than 10 items, but I'm not going to try and number them, as we're going to be covering some as groups or categories. To start off with, we're going to go right into cars. Now first of all, I want to reassure you that I do believe Rocket League should be a game that you can use any funny looking car you want without judgment. I'm sure most of us would like to see more variety in the game, and that was actually the original goal of standardizing hitboxes, though it didn't really work out as planned. So in this section of Rocket League cars that make you ask why, I'm going to overlook the Zippy and the Scarab, which are based on the original game, and thus their cartoonish look kind of makes sense. But there's a few other vehicles we cannot let Psyonix just get away with that easily. Alright, so I know they had the whole ocean theme to cash in on during the release of Aquadome, but that does not justify the 2 DLC cars that dropped at the same time. Who bought these things, honestly? Who looked at the Proteus and said, yeah, that's worth real money. I want to drive this 4-wheeled birth defect as my chosen car. Also, we can't ignore the fact that this is the only Rocket League car that has arms. It actually makes me wonder, how many new players bought this hoping or expecting to be able to grab the ball and carry it? It would actually be funny as soon as the game goes free to play to see someone go air dribble on some new players while using the Proteus and tell them it's because of the arms. Not that I'm supporting smurfing in any way, guys. For our next car that makes us ask why, we're going to the Rocket Pass. And I ask, can you name this vehicle? Did you guess Ronarticarian? Alright, I'll admit, it's not a real thing. This is actually a mashup of 4 of the last 5 Rocket Pass cars, because apparently Psyonix can't seem to come up with any ideas that aren't low-profile curvy sports cars. Now I can only assume that these are all related, like children from some trashy reality show where the father has more wives than teeth, which would also mean the reason we ended up with the Mudcat in Rocket Pass 4 is probably because one of those wives is also his sister. Alright, I think I've reached the quota for car-related birth defect jokes in this video, so let's move on. We're going to give honorable mention to Hotshot, a car that was obviously not designed with the driver's view in mind. Here in the Hotshot Driver Simulator, you can experience the type of field awareness usually only reserved for your solo queue teammates. Honestly, how did they expect someone to be able to drive this? I think the main thing I wonder about when it comes to Rocket League cars is why we don't have any like monster truck or off-road type vehicles. Unfortunately, the closest comparison we have right now is probably the Roadhog XL. Now I said I didn't want to judge people based on the car they chose to play with, but come on. I think every one of us has that Roadhog XL main on our friends list that we try and avoid. Now, for me personally, the sign that Rocket League items are starting to get weird was March 19th, 2018, and the release of the Spring Fever crate. I still remember the first time I saw them in game. Donut wheels. Psyonix finally went there, I thought to myself. We're driving on food. Several other food-related items followed, and I'll admit, I had some fun making a watermelon car, but I challenge you to look at stuffed crust and honestly tell me that you think this should be a thing. Now with an increased budget from Epic Games, we have every reason to be worried about what the Psyonix food division is cooking up for us next. And if you don't believe me, well, check out this footage I recently obtained that was smuggled from the facility. Now I do warn you, this may be disturbing to some viewers. Another area where Psyonix has continued to push the boundaries of what is acceptable and right is the holiday events, during which weirder and weirder things are shoved into wheels and called cosmetics. I mean, how long do we have before it's just baby Jesus bouncing around in a wheel well? Now, I was going to simulate this for you, but I think it would have turned out more offensive than that food footage we watched earlier. Engine customization was added to Rocket League in July 2017, and since that time, Psyonix has added several of what I might call fun sounds. So like locomotive, helicopter, and even motor mouth. But that still doesn't prevent me from asking why for some others. First, we have electric saw, which I was introduced to when one of my viewers redeemed channel points to randomize my car during a stream. So in this case, I wasn't complaining about the hitbox or the terrible topper I had to use. Instead, it was that unbearable whine of electric saw. Brutal. And finally, civet, named for a cat-like mammal native to Southeast Asia. Note I said cat-like. A civet is not a feline, but when you're using this engine sound, it certainly sounds like there's a few tortured cats stuck under the hood. Why, Psyonix? Why? The last thing I want to talk about is flags, specifically community flags. Now, I'm sure as we scroll through these, there's a few names you would probably ask why, or even who. But you have to remember that when the game first came out, publicity and promotion was very important, and thus even YouTubers that only did a couple videos on Rocket League would sometimes end up with their own flag in the game. What I want to question is not the current flags, but the flags that are lacking. Yes, as the years have gone by, the practice of recognizing community figures with flags has kind of gone away. Now it's great to see Sandman and even Shitty Watercolor represented in the game, but I feel Psyonix has really missed an opportunity to recognize other important figures. Flags are very simple, cheap cosmetic to make, and yet there's no musty, sunless, Floomp, or Mertzy flag. YouTubers that have hundreds of thousands of subs and have helped push the game to players. There's even missed opportunities to make these flags drops on a creator's stream, or even giving creators a cut of that flag's sales in some kind of community item shop. Anyways, that's my little rant about flags. By the way, I was informed that creator codes are coming when Rocket League goes free to play, so be sure to check the description of this video for my code if you'd like to support this channel during your future purchases on the Epic Game Store. I hope you enjoyed this look into some of the weird cosmetics in Rocket League, and I'm sure there's probably a dozen or more other ridiculous items we could cover, especially because we didn't even get into toppers. But I'm going to let you guys recommend some of them in the comment section. Or, better yet, come to the stream and enter your terrible build in one of my ugly car competitions. My name is Sledge. Thanks for watching.